It was a quiet morning, one of those where the city seems to wake up slowly, stretching between light and sound. The air smelled of fresh coffee, the chatter of people brushed gently against the breeze, and the world felt alive in a language that wasn't mine. I walked past the bookstore on the corner, reading every sign, every whisper of conversation around me, and something strange happened. For a second, maybe less, I stopped translating. The words didn't travel through the bridge of my native tongue. They simply were. I looked at the street sign, the cafe menu, the faces of strangers, and my mind spoke back in English. Not as a guest, but as a home. It wasn't just about understanding anymore. It was about feeling the language, letting it shape my thoughts, my emotions, my rhythm. That's when I realized fluency isn't the day you stop making mistakes. It's the day you start thinking without permission. And that day, I did. I thought in English. And somehow, it felt like English thought in me.
You know, Olivia, I've always envied people who can just start talking. They walk into a room, smile, say, hi, and suddenly everyone likes them. I, on the other hand, always overthink it. What if I say something stupid? What if they don't answer?
You're not alone, Marcus. Most people think too much before they speak. But here's the truth. Conversations aren't meant to be perfect. They're meant to be real.
That's easy for you to say. You're a teacher. You talk for a living.
And yet, even teachers get nervous. I still remember my first class. I said, "Good morning," and no one answered. The silence felt eternal. But you know what I learned that day? The moment you stop fearing silence, it starts to listen to you.
That's deep but kind of scary too. So, how do I even begin? Like, if I see someone I want to talk to, what's the first move?
Start small. Forget about being impressive. Just be curious. Try something simple like, "How's your day going?" Or, "That's a nice book you're reading." The goal isn't to say something smart. It's to open space for someone else to exist.
So, it's not about me. It's about them.
Exactly. The best conversations begin when you stop trying to perform and start trying to connect.
Okay, let's say I'm talking to someone right there, that girl reading by the window. What would you say?
I'd probably smile first. Let the eyes speak before the mouth does. Then maybe something light. "Rainy day, perfect for a good story, isn't it?"
That's smooth. If I said that, it would sound like a movie line.
Hen, make it your own movie. Conversations are little films we improvise every day.
Okay, but what if she just nods? Or worse, ignores me?
Then you smile again. You tried, and that's beautiful. Every no you get is just one step closer to the yes that matters. The point is not to win every conversation. It's to practice showing up.
Practice showing up, I like that. Feels like something more than English.
It always is. Language lives between people, Marcus. The moment you open your mouth, you invite another soul in.
You know, when I first moved here, I was terrified to talk to anyone. My accent, my pauses, the words I forgot, it all made me feel small.
I know that feeling. But remember, accents don't hide your identity. They reveal it. They tell your story before your words do.
I never thought of it that way.
That's because you were taught to see language as a test. But it's not. It's a dance. You lead, you follow, you stumble. And somehow it becomes music.
You make it sound easy.
It becomes easy when you stop waiting for the perfect moment. There's no perfect moment, just the next one.
So, the next time I meet someone, I should just say hello and see where it goes?
Exactly. Don't overthink it. A good conversation is like breathing. You just begin.
All right then. Next time, I'll try. But if it goes wrong, can I blame you?
Of course. But only if you promise to tell me the story afterward. You know, Marcus, Most people think learning English is about mastering words, but sometimes it's about mastering the silence before them.
Maybe that's where real conversations begin.
Every hello carries a secret. It's not just an opening. It's an act of courage. Thinking in another language is not a skill, it's a transformation. It's the moment when something inside you shifts, quietly but irreversibly. You begin to exist between two worlds, the one that raised you and the one that now speaks through you. I often tell my students that English is not just learned, it's absorbed. It seeps into you through sound, rhythm, and feeling. You hear a conversation on the street, and suddenly the words stop being foreign. They become a part of your inner soundscape, like a song you didn't know you remembered. When you start thinking in English, you cross an invisible bridge. On one side, there's effort, translation, hesitation, fear of mistakes. On the other, there's flow, instinct, presence, emotion. You begin to dream differently, to laugh differently. Even silence feels different. I believe that each language gives us a new version of ourselves. In English, you might be softer. In your native tongue, maybe you're louder, more certain. It's not about losing identity, it's about expanding it. Every word you learn opens a door to a new way of feeling. Thinking in English is not about replacing thoughts, it's about freeing them. You no longer need to speak English. You live it in the way you describe the morning light or whisper a thought to yourself while walking alone. And that's the secret no textbook can teach. The language becomes real not when you memorize it, but when it starts breathing with you. So, Marcus, are you ready to test what you've learned? Imagine we've never met. You're just a guy sitting at a cafe, and I'm reading by the window. How would you start a conversation with me?
Okay, no pressure. Hey, nice weather today?
It's raining, Marcus. Oh, 3.
Worst opening ever. Okay, let me try again. How about, I see you like reading. What kind of books do you enjoy?
It's open, it's curious, and it invites me to talk. Go on. I'll answer like a stranger.
All right.
I usually read poetry. It helps me slow down.
That's interesting. I've never really understood poetry. Maybe you could teach me sometime.
Now that is connection. You turned a topic into a bridge. You didn't just ask, you offered yourself into the conversation.
So it's like making space for two voices, not just one.
Exactly. Think of it as a rhythm. Your words, my words, a pause, a smile. That's how you keep it alive.
Okay, my turn to listen. You start this time.
All right, you seem deep in thought. Is everything okay?
That's personal.
It is, but in a gentle way. Notice the tone. Not intrusive, just caring. You don't need to ask big questions to create connection. Just the right ones.
So I could say something like, yeah, just thinking about work. You ever feel like you're running but not moving anywhere?
Beautiful. You opened a window to your world. Vulnerability keeps a conversation breathing.
Sometimes I'm afraid of being too honest.
Honesty is a language too, Marcus. People recognize it instantly. When someone feels you're being real, they lean in.
You know what I've realized? In most of my past conversations, I was only waiting for my turn to speak. Not really listening.
That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. Listening to reply, instead of listening to understand. The difference changes everything.
I get it now. So if you said, I had a tough day, and I just said, yeah, same, that's not keeping it alive.
Exactly. You'd close the door. But if you said, what happened? You'd open it wider. That's how empathy works in real time.
It's strange. We spend years studying grammar, but no one teaches us this.
Because this is the part you can't memorize. You can only feel it.
Let's try one more. You be the stranger again.
Hi there. Mind if I sit here? All the other tables are taken.
Sure, go ahead. I was just pretending to read anyway.
Hat's charming. Humor keeps it flowing.
What are you drinking?
Tea. Always tea.
British instinct, huh?
It's in the blood. And you?
Coffee. The American way, too fast, too strong.
Maybe that's why we balance each other.
You see? That felt real. Not forced. Like something that could actually happen.
Because it could. The magic isn't in the words, it's in the moment.
So, the secret is, to keep the conversation alive, you just have to be alive in it.
Exactly, Marcus. Don't speak to fill silence. Speak to share presence. Every good conversation is a dance between attention and honesty.
You know, I think I finally understand what you meant earlier. Language really does live between people.
It does. And every time you dare to speak, every time you ask, listen, or laugh, that space between us comes alive again.
Thank you, Olivia. Not just for the lesson, but for the conversation.
That's how every great lesson begins, Marcus, with someone who decided to talk. There's a quiet kind of victory in learning a language, one that no one else can see. It's not in certificates or perfect grammar or flawless pronunciation. It's in the moment you stop chasing words and start living them. I watched Marcus today, walking, talking, thinking in English without even noticing. That's the moment every learner dreams of, though most don't recognize it when it comes. Because it doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with peace. Thinking in English isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning of belonging. The day your thoughts no longer need translation is the day English becomes a voice inside you. Gentle, familiar, yours. So if you're listening now, remember, one day it'll happen to you too. You'll look around, speak, think, feel, and realize you're no longer learning English. You're living it. If this story touched you, leave a like, subscribe, and keep walking with us. There's another story waiting, right here on the screen, ready to begin.